And now I would like to introduce the man with the drones, Mike Kronmiller.
Not Mike Kronmiller, but I am Miss Starling, and I'm the teacher of the STEM capstone class that Mike is in. So throughout the year, the students have been working on these big projects that they've designed themselves, and as a winter requirement, they have to present their progress to a group of their choice. And Mike has chosen the upper school to present to, so I think he's pretty brave in doing that. And so I just hope as you listen to Mike's journey through his project that inspires you to think about what it is that you're passionate about and how you might go and pursue those passions. All right, take it away, Mike.
Morning, upper school. Give me a quick second to get set up here, but right now I'm sort of working in the midst of my drone project, and we have to do our mid-year presentation. So while I'm getting everything ready, you guys can sort of take a look at what I've been most recently working on. So this is the drone that is actually designed to find people in avalanches, and I will get more into detail during my presentation. So, as part of my STEM capstone, I am making a drone to find people in avalanches. But in addition to that, I'm also working with a group of students in Nepal to teach them how to design and build their own drones. And this is sort of under the initiative that not only do I want this technology in the country, but I want people to be developing the technology on their own and actually utilizing it in ways that is more appropriate for their situation. Why I picked this? So, avalanches occur every year in Nepal. They take many, many lives, and they also impact Nepal's economy. 90% of Nepal's economy actually relies on tourism, and every time there's a disaster in which a tourism dies, their economy is severely hurt. Nepal is also the fourth most impoverished nation in the world, so every time their economy is hurting, it has a massive impact on their society. I also picked Nepal because my brother actually traveled through there a few years ago, and while I was just picking my capstone, he had come back and started telling me his stories, and I thought, well, since they're so reliant on tourism and these avalanches, don't stop occurring, why don't we make a technology to try to help the people when they occur? So, it's one thing to actually have the idea, it's another thing to act on it. In March of my junior year, I spent my spring break in Nepal. I actually took a small drone, much like this one, to Nepal with me, where it flew at Everest Base Camp at 18,500 feet, reaching a max altitude of 19,000 feet. In addition to that, I also took the drones to the school that I would be working with, the Kanjiroa school in their capital, Kathmandu, where I worked with the students to teach them how to not just work with these drones, but also service them. So I actually brought two over, and I left two with them, and this is just another one that was built. Finally, I did some of my own testing, not just at Everest Base Camp, but also in the jungles of Nepal. You'd be surprised how you can go from mountains one day to jungles the next. And it's really interesting the different results you would get just from, flying around. So, what did I actually learn from this trip? Battery power is a pretty big deal. Drones can normally only fly from 15 to 30 minutes at sea level. As the altitude gets higher, that number drops rapidly. When I was at 19,000 feet, the drone only flew for 2 minutes before falling 500 feet. Yeah. Whoa. Components are easily damaged in transit. As I mentioned, I actually brought two drones, but one of the drones was damaged. The motor actually didn't spin as fast as the other one, so it was almost unflyable. And the last thing is, travel costs are pretty high. It costs about $1,000 just for a plane ticket to get to Nepal, and it's a 24-hour flight. Once you're in the country, it gets somewhat easier. During my whole stay, I believe it actually cost less than the plane ticket to stay for a week in Nepal. So how did I get here? Drones are complicated. This guy is really complicated. And I had help while working on him. I met some people through personal connections, but I also started reaching out to different organizations who specialize with drones. I decided to take my project, throw it into a PowerPoint like the one that I have here, and then present it to different companies. Most of them were actually really interested in the project. A lot of people are impressed when a high school student is so passionate about an engineering project, and they're more than willing to help you. And again, this first step is really important. You know, again, it's not just having an idea, but it's acting on it. And when you approach people and you show a willingness to work on this and learn, it makes a big difference. So, I'm going to talk to you about the pros and cons, but while it's running in the background, I'm actually going to show you a time lapse of me working on this big guy right here. It doesn't show the whole thing, but it sort of encapsulates the project. Alright, I have 4 minutes left. So, let's talk about some of the pros of this project. It's really cool. I mean, drones are so cool, and it's really fun to sort of walk around school and people are like, oh my god, what is this? This is so cool. And I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, alright, he has a drone, why doesn't he fly it? There's the con. It's actually illegal. One of the big... The FAA actually put a 30-mile no-fly zone around Reagan National Airport recently, and Bullis is well within that limit. And drones like this are actually programmed to not be able to fly in that region. So going around and testing, I had to actually drive an hour out, just away from the no-fly zone, and find either an airport that would be willing to let me fly at their facility, or a school that would be willing to fly on one of their football fields to actually work on something like this. And you'd be surprised how, few they are once you start going further out. There are a ton of private schools in this area, but when you start going out into, the really rural areas, it gets few and far between. Another pro is I've really learned a lot of different skills. I'm really an engineering-focused guy, and I hate public speaking, but after presenting this project 3, 4, 5, 6 times to companies, CEOs, foundations, engineers, stuff like that, it gets a lot easier, and, I've been working on this project for a year and a half, so it really gets, ingrained in me, and I can present about it relatively easily. And then, speaking of the year and a half thing, another con, this has taken a long time to work on it. And it takes a lot of time out of my schoolwork to do this. And you really take some initiative to get into the free time that you would normally spend just relaxing to actually get down and work on this drone. And I mean, yes, it is cool, but it takes a while. And I'm really passionate about it, and I know that if you are passionate about something that you will do, it doesn't even seem like work at that point. I don't think I actually had anything else. But yeah, I mean, again, if you're passionate about something and you want to do it as your capstone, first person you talk to is Miss Darling. I approached her with my idea during my junior year. She said it was really cool and she supported me, but it was on me to actually work on the project. But you'd be surprised how empowering the support is. And I really want to thank Miss Darling and the capstone program as a whole for letting me work on something as cool as this and letting me pursue something that I'm very passionate about. So, thank you.
Just another reminder about the basketball game on Saturday at 3. Last year at senior night, the bleachers actually broke. The sheer weight of the student section broke the bleachers. They had to get new bleachers because we were just that heavy. Now this year, the athletic department came to me and they said, Kyle, you will never break the